Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
Out here, there's no one way of doing things. No unwritten rules. And no shortage of adventure. Because out here, the only requirement is having fun. Bank of America invites kids 6 to 18 to golf with us. For a limited time, sign them up for a free 1-year membership, giving them access to discounted tee times at thousands of courses. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/golf with us. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Restrictions apply. See BofA.com/golf with us for complete details. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and you can follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/@RamsUpPodcast. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined often by my football guru, Ian, along with a bunch of other friends of the show on occasion. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Mark from Rams Up here. Another Rams Up update. We're going to have some fun this episode. I'm going to do another segment of our Who's Pumped, Who's Pissed, Who's Perplexed, taking the pulse of fan bases across the NFL, at least how I think they are feeling after this draft. How are these fan bases feeling about their teams? They like what they did? They feeling a little perplexed with the direction their team's going? Or are they just pissed off? And we'll take the pulse of all these fan bases here in a second. Before we get started, I wanted to share with you, got something kind of fun going on Friday night, 5 o'clock Pacific time. I'll be joining Peo Time, our Canadian Ram fan. He's up there in Nova Scotia, of all places, and he invited me to join him and 2 other Rams content creators to do an all-time Rams players draft. And I'm not going to get into the details of how it's going to work, but it should be a lot of fun. And then they're going to have a poll afterwards, see who came out on top. 22 starters. Again, it's going to be a little confusing. We'll figure it out as we go. At least I'll be a little confused. Everybody else will probably get it right away. But hey, join us if you can. Live streaming, 5 o'clock. I got the link up there on the YouTube channel. Just do a search for Peo Time, the Canadian Ram fan. And he's a lot of fun. Great guy. Had him on the show a couple of times. And join us if you're not out and about on Friday night, or even if you are, pull it up on your phone. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, afterwards, vote for me. Vote for whoever you think comes out on top. So strategy is going to be really important here. I've already given it a lot of thought, and I'm not going to give anything away, though. You'll see how it goes. And before we move on to anything else, I also wanted to say a couple of people on the YouTube channel asking when we're going to get into some content, some analysis of the Rams' undrafted free agents, and we'll get around to that. I want to sync up with Ian for that. He's taken a little bit of a break after carrying the show for a few days there during the draft, and me and him will sync up one night next week, and we'll get into that for sure. And it is episode 725 on the podcast. So let's talk about a player who wore number 25, one of my favorite players from the late 80s, Jerry Gray, the cornerback out of Texas. A first-round pick in 1985, played 7 years for the Rams, 22 interceptions, played in 4 Pro Bowls, and was actually the Pro Bowl MVP, had a pick 6 in that game. That was in 1989. Jerry Gray went on to have a very long and productive coaching career as well. Our number 25 for the Los Angeles Rams, out of the University of Texas, number 25, Jerry Gray. And if you put together an all-time Rams team, you're looking for a cornerback, yeah, you'd have to give him some consideration. So let's get into the fun stuff. The first team I'm going to tell you is pumped is the New York Giants. They got to be pumped with this draft class. I certainly would be. John Gruden was. He called it his favorite draft of all 32 teams. They got Abdul Carter, who some might say he's was the best player in this draft. Probably actually the second best after Hunter out of Colorado. And they maybe got their franchise quarterback in Jackson Dart. They got everybody's favorite running back. Well, a lot of people love this guy, Cam Skattebo. And then the tight end, a lot of people thought the Rams might be grabbing Thomas Fidone out of Nebraska. But it's really all about Carter and Jackson Dart and Skattebo. I'd be happy if those 3 guys were heading into my camp, especially if I needed a quarterback. Jackson Dart, I suspect the Rams had their eyes on him, but decided to wait till next year. I think Dart is going to be a pretty darn good quarterback. And if you're the New York Giants fan base, you got to be pumped with about those 3 guys, especially Carter, Dart, and Skattebo. And the New York Giants have been floundering for a couple of years now, so it's probably not going to take much for them to get pumped, to get excited, but I think they are right now. If you took a poll of New York Giants fans, if you know any, I'm guessing they're pretty happy right now. Who else is pumped? How about the Bears? And the Bears, they bring on the USC quarterback, Caleb Williams, and his season really wasn't that great. I think there are signs that he could end up being what they hoped he would be, but he needs weapons. He needs an offensive line, which they've addressed. And then they add T-Mac McMillan. See how I avoid saying his first name there? The wide receiver out of Arizona that a lot of people thought the Rams were trying to move up for. Not sure how true it is. I think it is true, but I'm just a little bit in disbelief. That really surprised me. And they also added Colston Loveland, another guy that a lot of Rams fans thought, well, that's who they thought McVay might be moving up for, actually, Loveland. So got to love the offense the Bears added. And then, of course, there is the Jacksonville Jags fan base. They are the team that added Hunter, and they also added some speed at the running back position. Bashul Tutin, he's the blazing speed. He was probably the favorite as far as running backs go, or one of the favorites, up there with R.J. Harvey. Ram fans looking for a change of pace running back. So the Jags, another team that's been floundering a little bit, adding a couple of really exciting players. And I have to tell you, I haven't talked to any any Charger fans, I should say, but they should be pumped about adding Omari and Hampton, and as well as wide receiver Trey Harris. Just a little bit juiced, I think Charger fans should be. That franchise is headed in the right direction. They got the right coach. Made the playoffs. They are going to be relevant, and adding Hampton, man, he's a runaway train that perfectly fits what Harbaugh wants to do there, I think. And who else is pumped? The Raiders fans, and I think I have them on this list all the time because the Raider fans, if they're 0-16 and they take a 3-0 lead in Game 17, they are pumped. They are the probably I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, perhaps the most delusional fan base, dare I say, along with Cowboys, and sometimes I feel that way about 49ers fans. But they're happy about this running back, Ashton Jeanty, and I would be too. And, I think if he turns out to be the type of running back we think, in your face, stud running back, a generational talent, Raiders fans, they have every reason to be pumped. And another team that I don't know if their fan base is pumped, but I would be pumped, and really just because their draft, it looks like some of our mock drafts are an accumulation of a bunch of Rams mock drafts. I mean, aside from the first pick, Gray Zabel, interior offensive line, I didn't have much interest in him for the Rams that early, obviously. They kind of set on the interior. If there was any position we were set on, it was the interior offensive line. Now, one of the best characteristics of Gray Zabel is that he is flexible and he can play anywhere along the offensive line. But I don't think you use a first-round pick for a guy that's going to just give you flexibility. That's usually reserved for swing guys you get later in the draft. They're either going to ping him as a guard or a tackle. I think a guard, but regardless, not a player the Rams I think would be interested in 2025. But then after that, Elijah Arroyo, the tight end that the Rams passed on, taking Terrence Ferguson instead. Ram fans have been clamoring for him for weeks. And then Jalen Milroe, Ian's favorite second-round quarterback. And then Torrey Horton, the wide receiver out of Colorado State. I might have mocked him to the Rams once, but a lot of folks saw him heading to the Rams. The running back, Damian Martinez out of Miami. Ian liked him a lot. And then the special teams wide receiver phenom, Ricky White out of UNLV. And there was someone on our channel that brought him up continuously, and I looked him up, and very dynamic player, exciting player, 4 blocked punts, a speed guy, very athletic. So now Seahawks fans may not be excited about this draft, but if they've been paying attention to our mock drafts, they probably would be going, heck yeah, we got a bunch of guys that I think are going to be contributors to this roster really soon. Now, who is pissed? Which fan bases are pissed? And I'll start off, before we get to that, I forgot about our Rams. Our Rams fan base is pumped. I got them out of order there because I always save the Rams for last. And I think Rams fans are pumped mainly based on the first-round pick next year. That is so big. And we still came away with a pretty good draft class, in my opinion. Remains to be seen how good.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Llévate más de lo que esperas todos los días con el nuevo McValue en McDonald's. Ahora puedes comprar uno y sumarle otro por $1. Así que cuando tu equipo favorito enfrente a sus rivales, enfrenta a tus antojos con $5 Meal Deals. Y si estás corriendo para alcanzar el desayuno, corre al app para llevarte ofertas antes del cutoff. Tú decides, y con McValue, tu decisión siempre rinde más. Precios y participación pueden variar. BOGO $1 válido para un producto de igual o menor valor. Debe estar registrado en Rewards para ofertas en el app.
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're gonna love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Cadillac. When you have 4 new tires, every drive feels fresh. Right now, buy 3 select tires and get 1 for just $1 during the Cadillac Certified Service Fresh Start Tire event. Visit Cadillac.com/service offers or see dealer for full details. At participating U.S. GM dealers only. Highest or equal value tire will be $1. Offer ends 5/31/2025. Not available with other offers.
A couple of these guys come through for us, as they always do. Les and Sean know what they're doing, but that first round pick next year, boy, we just have to hope for a Falcons collapse and we will be sitting pretty and maybe having one of these there's 2 or 3 quarterbacks that are going to go really, really high next season. And I suspect the Rams will either be using that Falcons pick for one of them or packaging their 2 first rounders or a first rounder and a second rounder or whatever it takes to get that next great franchise quarterback. One way or another, I think they're going to get it done. Okay, so now on to the pissed fan bases. And I think Falcons fans are probably pissed. I don't know if they should be, but I suspect they are. So the first thing they did was draft an edge rusher with the 15th overall pick. Raheem Morris loves his defense, and the Falcons were a horrible team as far as the pass rush goes. I believe they are the worst by some measures. So they take the edge rusher 15th overall, then they trade up, giving up next year's first rounder, and they got some other stuff back, but still giving up a first rounder next year to go up and draft another edge rusher. So they threw everything at that one position to improve it, and maybe that's a smart move. You know, the Rams gave up a second rounder to move up and draft Braden Fisk, and we were hammered for that. Turned out okay. So it remains to be seen how this turns out. But I think with all the criticism they've received, you know, they got to be pissed. It could turn out okay. But when you're a struggling team, they were supposed to win the division last year. They didn't. Really came up short from all expectations. And then this, drafting 2 edge rushers, giving up a first round pick. And, I wouldn't say they're the laughing stock of the 2025 draft, but a lot of people really picking on the Falcons and their decision to make this move. So they got to be kind of pissed. And another fan base that is probably pissed is the Cleveland Browns. And on the YouTube channel, man, this graphic, they really should do something with their logo and their helmet. Just so blah. But that's besides the point. Why they are pissed is, well, okay, the first 2 picks, 2 Californians, by the way, defensive lineman Mason Graham, solid pick. And then linebacker Carson Schlesinger out of UCLA, the Moore Park kid. They also grabbed Quinshon Judkins, the running back, and Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end we like. And then Dylan Gabriel. And then they came back and drafted Shedeur Sanders. Now, the theory I heard is, and it kind of makes sense, the owner there wants Sanders, and they know he's going to want Sanders. So what do? They say, well, let's outsmart our owner. We'll draft Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round a little early. I shouldn't. That's probably about where he deserves to go, but they probably could have got him in the 4th. Ian loved him, by the way, and I think I love him as well. Extremely accurate. He's going to be probably a really good backup quarterback, if nothing else. So they take Dylan Gabriel. And the theory is that they did that just to thwart the owner who potentially could be phoning down to them and say, hey, let's get Sanders. Well, if we take Gabriel, he'll leave us alone. And from what I hear, it didn't work. They drafted Gabriel, and the owners still wanted Sanders. And by the way, they have Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, and Joe Flacco. I have a feeling they'll be moving on from Watson this year one way or another. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just a weird situation. They still don't have the quarterback. And this is a team that, in all likelihood, unless Sanders or Gabriel tears it up, or, Joe Flacco, I can't imagine he's going to be the answer. Maybe Kenny Pickett emerges as the real deal. But my guess is it's going to be the Browns and the Rams jockeying for position to draft a couple of those two or three top quarterbacks next year. But Browns fans have to be pissed. Well, what the heck are we doing? We have 5 quarterbacks in camp, and none of them are like you can really put your finger on a guy that he is the answer moving forward. He's going to get us to the promised land. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. And the Shadur Sanders story, I think that prank call was really messed up. And the Falcons coach and his son, or it's really a son that pulled it off, costing that team and that coach a lot of money, as it should. But I feel bad for Sanders for what happened. But you hear how he carried himself in some of those meetings, I don't know what they're thinking. They're trying to control the narrative, control where he goes. That's not how the NFL works. And it's been explained over and over and over again why that was a good strategy, a horrible strategy. What am I thinking? A horrible strategy. And Deion Sanders and his son paying the price now. But there you have it. Cleveland Browns fans have to be pissed. And I have 2 fan bases that are probably a little perplexed and perplexed fan bases. The first one is the Cardinals. Now, I got to love what they did for their defense. Their first 5 picks were defense. Only player on offense was a guard in the 6th round. So, yeah, definitely the defense is going to be improved. But I don't know, man. I, as a fan, I would not be happy about going all in on defense in a draft, in any draft. You got to be adding skilled players, and that's what gets fan bases excited. So defense wins championships. Okay. I don't really believe that to be the case. I think a complete team wins championships. I think drafting defense and signing proven veteran talent on offense might be the best, generally the best approach. Are the Cardinals doing that? Maybe, but I still can't think they could be too excited about 5 picks on defense and a guard coming home with that. A little perplexed, and it could work out for them. And maybe I'm reading the Cardinals fan base. I'm trying to channel here how I would feel if I was a Cardinal fan, and I'd kind of be a little disappointed. And then the other team that's a little perplexed, another divisional rival. Do I like picking on the 49ers? Yeah, I guess I do. Had a bunch of picks, and they were also desperate to restock that defense. First 5 picks were defense. They had a big exit of players there. They gave George Kittle that giant contract, which I don't necessarily agree with that. Sometimes you get boxed in with really popular players, and I love Kittle. I love him, and I'm a Rams fan. I love the way he carries himself, a high character guy, a lot of fun on the field, on and off the field, runs that tight end university thing. Got to give a shout out to Kittle for everything he does on and off the field. And he's also one of the big proponents of getting back to real grass throughout NFL stadiums. I don't think that's going anywhere, but he's one of the guys that has recognized the increased injury rate on artificial turf, and he's been trying to get something done about that for years. I don't think it's really working, but give him credit for that. I suspect Tyler Higbee would agree at this point with the injuries he has suffered, although the big one was due to a questionable hit by that Lions DB. I get it, but I think turf has contributed to a lot of injuries. Getting off track here, though, the only, the first 5 picks are defense for the 49ers. Got a bunch of guys that don't strike me as impactful, though. They had, by the way, 2 5th-rounders and 3 7th-rounders. And if that was Les Snead maneuvering there, what would he have ended up with? He probably would have ended up with, I'm guessing, maybe 1 5th-rounder and 2 6th-rounders or something like that. Or he would have kept the 2 5ths and turned the 3 7ths into a 6th or 2 6ths, depending on where they're at. But to have 2 5th-rounders and then no picks until the 7th and 3 7th-round picks, you're basically drafting guys that are bubble undraftable players, borderline undraftable. So I don't know. I looked across the players on their draft, and there are very few guys that we have talked about between Scott, when we did talk about players with Paul Walia and Ian. So I'm not really feeling it for the 49ers draft. And again, I could be dead wrong. But again, I'm channeling here how 49er fans might feel. And I haven't looked. Maybe I'll jump on a couple of their channels. I have a feeling they are a little perplexed. So there you have it. It's always fun to jump into this and channel these other fan bases, bounce around the league, see what other teams are doing. And don't forget, Friday night, 5 o'clock Pacific time, PAO time, the draft, how do I characterize this? The all-time Rams players draft, drafting any player who played one game for the Rams across their history. 4 Rams content creators, see which one comes out on top. Join us, going to be a lot of fun. And vote for me, vote for my team afterwards. You don't really have to do that, but vote for who you think has the best team. Working on a strategy. I have some ideas out here from Rams Up.
Vitamin Water was born in New York because New Yorkers wanted more. Like more flavor to go with all the flavor. A refreshing drink after climbing 6 flights of stairs to a walk-up apartment, or standing in the subway station in 100-degree heat. Focus when I have an 8-hour shift, and XXX after I was out all night at a club. Call XXX. Drink vitamin water. It's from New York.
That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.